Hi, Judy here again. I want to talk to you about your final project and paper. This seems to be the one assignment that causes people to get confused and call me and have a lot of questions. So I thought maybe if I just talked about it a little bit, that would save you some time and trouble. But feel free to call me if you need to. Well, first of all, this is the capstone for this particular course. So obviously, everything that you've gotten out of this course, however you've benefited, whatever you've learned, whatever has meant something to you, should sort of flow into your final project and paper. And so I'm not asking you to recycle other knowledge or to especially to pull out a paper that you wrote for another course and try to sort of adjust it to this course. I'm asking you to sit back and reflect on the course and reflect on how you would want to share this with an audience that you're likely to share it with. And that could be a civic group, it could be a professional colleagues group, it could be students, it could be peers, it could be a public presentation, it could be an imaginary event. The idea is to ask yourself, this is a population that I'd like to share this with. How would I do it? And how would I frame it? What would I want to talk about? You can only talk about what you know. So, your goal is not to parrot things that you've heard other people say on videos or that you've gotten, by listening to me or reading things. You really want in this final presentation to ask yourself, what do I know now that I did not know or didn't see before I did this course? And how would I explain that? How would I draw that? How would I draw this so that it touched other people? And so it's original work. That's the most important point. Now, obviously, it's also academic work, and you have a lot of references that you've read, and papers been made available to you, and other materials. So clearly you want to reference things that are appropriate to reference, but in the context of your own learning. So it's just as important that you have original ideas as that you be able to say that somebody else said something that sounded good to you. The paper doesn't need to be long, although if 4 to 6 pages is not enough for you, if you find yourself having to write more than that to say what you want to say, feel free to do that. 4 to 6 is a minimum. I will read a longer paper if it's good and it took you that long, or it was important to you to get across what you wanted to get across, to have a little bit more space. So I don't just, get to page 6 and go, well, I'm done. I will read your paper. And I will look at your project, and feel free to you can do a video, you can do a podcast, you can do a PowerPoint presentation, you can do a Prezi presentation, you can do any form of presentation that is comfortable for you. But the idea is that when you consider the project, you're considering the audience. So if you were to do a project for, say, a group of pregnant women, the illustrations and the examples and the metaphors and the style you would use would be very different than if you were to do a presentation, say, for a group of elderly people recuperating from strokes, or if you were doing a group of nurses or doctors or public health professionals or hospital administrators. If you see what I mean, you want to be thinking about, who am I talking to? And how do I frame this in a way that is meaningful to them? So your paper is the logic of it, the background, the source of your thinking, the explanation for what you were thinking, and your presentation is the presentation. So what I don't want to see is your presentation be a PowerPoint of topic sentences from the paragraphs of your paper, because that's not the point. The point is for you to think through sharing this learning with an audience of some sort, because a lot of what is important about understanding resiliency is you've got to be able to talk about it. We can only share what we know, but if we don't share it, it's very difficult to draw it out in other people. So that was a good part of this course, was imagining yourself in situations where you would have to explain things or use your imagination or use your learning to get through to other people. So I hope this is helpful to you, and as I say, if you need to call me, call me. This is a very important part of the course. It's a significant portion of your grade. So I want you to really put some thought and care into it, and I certainly will help you in any way I can if you ask for help. Okay, take care.